This is going to be a little video on how the camera works on your phone. This is an iPhone 12 Pro, so it's not the newest, but it will have a lot of the features you'll find in virtually all of the other ones that are coming out. So we'll go to camera here, and the interface is very simple. At the lower portion of the screen, you've got three icons. The left one is what we call the image pit, and that's where your images will go, and it goes back to the camera roll in Photos. The white button is the shutter, and the circular button on the right is flipping between the front camera and the back camera. Now we're looking right at the back camera here, so as you can see this. Above the buttons are some icons, some words: time-lapse, slow-mo, video, photo, portrait, and pano. These are all different modes for the camera. Time-lapse will allow you to take a picture every couple of seconds or half second or whatever you choose. Slow-mo is slow motion. You can see at the very top here, it's where it says on the top right, it says 720p at 240. That indicates the resolution. 720p is resolution for high resolution pictures or decent resolution, and 240 is the number of frames per second. And we can change that to 120 and back to the other. At the top is the in the center is the time that's been shot, because slow-mo is video. The next is video, and that again at the top right hand corner you can see it says 4K dot 30. It means 4,000 dots per pixels, or pixels per inch, at 30 frames a second. That's 30 frames is typically video, what video is shot at. We can click that and go to 24, which is what film is shot at. We can also change it to high def or back to 4K. 4K is higher resolution than HD. It takes up less space. An hour of video at high def is 1 gigabyte. At 4K, it's roughly 17 minutes per gigabyte. If we go to Photos, you'll see now at the top it says RAW on the left, and there's this icon here with a slash through it. If I click on that, that changes it to Live, and it takes it out of RAW. RAW can't be anything other than a static image. And RAW gives you more information when you go to edit, so it's more important if you're doing something professionally or you want something with a lot of that you're going to work on later. There's this inverted caret right here, right in the center, and if I click that, you'll notice something will change down below. When I do that, right above the buttons at the very bottom of the screen, we now have a row of icons, and the first one is a lightning bolt with an arrow through it, which means we've turned off the flash, and you can see that at the top left hand corner. If I click that, it'll ask, do I want the flash off, do I want it on, do I want it auto? We can choose it, and it'll choose what you're going to do. The next one is the live icon, the live picture icon, which is primarily for Apple. It allows you a couple of seconds before and after the picture is taken to capture video. So it will show an image that has a little bit of movement. The next button over says 16:9. That's the ratio. That's because our screen is a 16:9 ratio. It's 16 inches. It's 16:9 ratio, so it's longer than it is wide. We can change that to make it square, 4:3, or we can change it to square, so it's 1:1. If you want to take advantage of the screen that you got, 16:9 is good. The plus and minus is for exposure. We can increase the exposure, and I'll go over that in a minute. And Then we have the self timer, so you can take a 3 second or a 10-second self timer, so you can move and get in front of it. This second to last icon here with the rings is for filters, so you can add all kinds of interesting, fun filters before you take the picture. You can also add these later, so it's not that important. And then here on the right side is the raw icon, and if I turn that on, it'll turn off live image, live photo. So you see that at the top right-hand corner. Now, if I were to click that arrow back at the top, off. Oh, sorry, there's one more. Right over here, I missed it. Right here between the lightning bolt on the left side and the live image, there's a line through this one that's got kind of a yin-yang kind of image to it. If I turn that on, what happens is at night, it will automatically choose how much to leave the shutter open so that it can take a picture that looks like it's taken in daylight or with a flash. And this is sort of an automatic thing. You have to keep the camera very steady, and it's very important, but it can give you a very nice image if you're looking for it. I'm going to turn off the icons at the bottom by clicking on the arrow at the top, because when we get the words. Now you'll notice when I move the camera a little bit here and I click, there's this yellow box. And the yellow box is important because what it gives you is the target, and that's where the camera is targeting where it's looking. So here, if I have a can and I click on this, it'll now focus on this if it can. There we go. And if I click on the background, it'll focus on that. Now you notice that there's this little, let me do this here, there's this little sun on the right side of the box. If I click and drag it up and down, you'll notice that the exposure changes. That's that exposure that we were talking about. And this is very useful, especially indoors, when you want to take a picture out a window where you've got strong backlighting and you want the foreground image to be brighter. So you may want to use that. Here's something else. If you click and hold this for a couple of seconds, you see its pulses there. And at the very top, it now says AE/AF lock. That's auto exposure, auto focus lock. So no matter where I take the camera now, it won't focus automatically and it won't change the exposure no matter what I'm doing. So that can be very useful in a couple of situations. And if I click again, it'll deselect that. In photos, in portraits, we have now the ability to change some of the lighting effects here. Natural light is just the standard, and it can give you the ability to take pictures of things outside or portraits of people, and it gives what's called a bokeh, which is the blurred background, which can be really kind of nice. So like here, if I had this and I choose this, let's see what I can do here. I'm trying to get away. I'm not going to be able to do it, but it would blur the background. Stage lighting makes the center brighter. Mono means it's just black and white. And, and the last one here is high key light. It would just make it make everything else go away. It's kind of neat. It can be kind of useful in that you can get some interesting effects. And the final one here is Pano, which is basically doing a panorama of the area. You can use this kind of effectively if you're taking like a holiday shot or an environmental shot and you want to show people what it really looks like. They're good, but it's kind of specific. Now you notice here at the bottom, just above the words and the button in the center of the screen, are some numbers. These are presets for the camera, and if I hit the 0.5, it widens out to a wide angle image. 1 is just standard resolution, and 2 is 2 times the magnification. Now, if I click and hold on that, and I can rotate this, I can do this manually. So here it's saying it's 26 millimeter. Well, don't worry about that. That's not as important. And if I keep rotating, it'll let me zoom in up to 10 times. Now you notice that it gets kind of sketchy when you get that close up and 10 times. It's not quite as good. It doesn't look quite as good because this is all synthetic. Once you get past 2 times resolution, it's all electronic. It's done by software. It can look good when it's finally resolved in the camera. It's not always the greatest. And that's prety much it, because the rest is going to be in editing the picture, and that's in Photos, and I'll take care of that another time. So if you have any questions, this is, the other thing is you can take the picture with the button at the bottom, or you can use the side buttons on the side if they're easier to take a picture. And you see that's what it looks like when you take a picture. I'll do the same thing here. So now I can take a look at it, click on that pit, there's the picture. If I click on it down here, I can now take a look at all the information about it. If we get a picture here, and you notice that at the bottom the eye has these little stars next to it. If I click on that, it means there's information. It recognizes it as a landmark, and in this case it's the Empire State Building, and it'll tell us it should tell us it's the Empire State Building. It's not. Let's see if we have here, this is good. It actually tells me that this is a plant, and there's a little plant icon in the middle of it. If I click on that, it'll tell us, oh, that's interesting. Oh, because I'm not connected, that's why. It'll tell us what kind of a plant it is. Take that off. And here, if I click on it, and that's about it for right now.